Here's something nobody tells you when you're scrolling through those jaw-dropping indoor jungle photos on Instagram. Most of those lush, overflowing, plant-packed spaces cost a fraction of what you'd expect. We're talking collections worth hundreds of plants that started with maybe $50 and a little patience. That's not a secret reserved for people with green thumbs and trust funds. It's a strategy anyone can use. And by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to pull it off yourself. Let's start with the single most powerful move you can make as a budget plant collector: choosing the right plants from the beginning. Not all plants are created equal when it comes to bang for your buck. Some species are basically propagation machines. You buy one, and within a few months you have 10. Pothos is the classic example, and for good reason. A single pothos plant in a 4-inch pot might run you $3 at a hardware store. Snip a few stems just below a node, drop them in a glass of water, and in 2 to 3 weeks you have rooted cuttings ready to pot up. Do that a few times, and one plant becomes 15. Spider plants are equally generous. They throw out long arching runners called stolons tipped with baby plants called spiderets that practically beg to be propagated. Just pin them into a small pot of soil while still attached to the mother plant. Wait for roots to establish and snip them free. Tradescantia, sometimes called spiderwort or wandering dude, is another one that multiplies almost aggressively. Pinch off a stem, stick it in moist soil, and it roots so easily it almost feels like cheating. Philodendrons, both the heartleaf variety and the Brazil cultivar, are in the same category. These are beginner-friendly, incredibly forgiving, and they fill space fast with their trailing or climbing vines. These are your workhorses. Build your collection around them before you even think about anything else. Now, where do you actually find plants without spending a fortune? This is where most beginners leave serious money on the table by defaulting straight to big box garden centers at full retail price. Your first stop should be Facebook Marketplace and neighborhood buy-nothing groups. Seriously, search your local area right now. You'll find people giving away cuttings, rehoming entire collections because they're moving, or selling established plants for $1 or $2. Buy-nothing groups in particular are gold mines because everything is free. People post plants they've divided, propagated, or simply grown too many of. Joining a few local groups and checking them regularly can fill your space with $0 spent. Plant swaps are another incredible resource that the plant community tends to keep to itself. Search for local plant swap events on Meetup, Facebook events, or even community boards at libraries and coffee shops. You bring cuttings or divisions from what you already have and trade them for something new. It's a social experience and a free shopping trip rolled into one. Grocery stores and big box retailers like Walmart or Home Depot often have clearance racks where struggling or slightly damaged plants get marked down to $1 or $2. These plants usually just need water and some attention. They're not dying, they're just neglected. With a little care, they bounce back completely and you've paid almost nothing. Hit these sections consistently and you'll score incredible deals. Similarly, local nurseries often do end-of-season sales in late summer and fall, where they deeply discount plants they don't want to overwinter. These sales can get you healthy, established plants at 50 to 70% off. One thing to actively avoid at this stage is chasing trendy rarities. Variegated monsteras, Thai constellation plants, and rare aeroids are beautiful, but a single cutting can cost anywhere from $50 to several $100s. These plants are also often more finicky, slower growing, and less forgiving of beginner mistakes. Stick with the reliable, fast-growing species: pothos, philodendrons, spider plants, tradescantia, heartleaf ferns, peace lilies, snake plants that fill your space quickly and tolerate the imperfect conditions of a real home. Now let's talk about the mechanics of actually multiplying what you have. Water propagation is the most beginner-friendly method. Just place a stem cutting with at least one node in a jar of water near a bright window and wait. Soil propagation works equally well for many species. Stick cuttings directly into moist potting mix and cover loosely with a plastic bag to retain humidity while roots develop. Division is your third tool, used when a plant like a pothos or spider plant has grown large enough to split into 2 or 3 separate plants, each of which can then be potted up individually. Put all of this together and here's what a realistic budget actually looks like. With around $50 to $100, patience and strategic sourcing over 3 to 6 months, building a collection of 30, 40, even 50 plants is completely achievable. Spend $20 on starter plants, propagate aggressively, hit those buy-nothing groups and clearance racks, and attend 1 or 2 local swaps. The math works in your favour every single time. The jungle you want isn't out of reach. It just requires a smarter approach than walking into a nursery and filling a cart. So now you've got plants, maybe a lot of them. The next challenge is turning that growing collection into an actual jungle that looks intentional, lush and full, even if your space is small and your budget is still tight. Here's the good news. The setup side of this hobby is just as DIY friendly as the plant sourcing side. Let's start with containers, because pots add up fast if you're not careful. A single decorative planter at a home goods store can run $15 to $25, and when you're housing 40 plants, that math gets brutal quickly. The solution is to think differently about what a planter actually is. Thrift stores almost always have a section of random household items: ceramic mugs, colanders, wooden crates, tin cans, old teapots, all of which make fantastic planters for somewhere between 25 cents and $2. The one thing you need to add is drainage. For anything without a hole, either drill one with a basic drill bit, or use a layer of lava rocks or gravel at the bottom to create a reservoir that keeps roots from sitting in standing water. Tin cans from your pantry can be spray painted in matte black terracotta tones, or any colour you want for under $5 for a whole can of paint that covers dozens of cans. For larger plants, concrete DIY moulds are surprisingly easy. You can cast your own pots using plastic containers as moulds, a bag of quick-set concrete from the hardware store for about $8, and about 24 hours of drying time. The result looks expensive and architectural. Total cost per pot, roughly $1. Once your plants have homes, it's time to think vertically, because floor space is limited, but wall space and ceiling height are almost always underused. A tension rod mounted between two walls in a window alcove costs about $12 and instantly creates a spot for hanging plants in clip-style containers or macrame hangers. Speaking of macrame, single plant hangers made from basic cotton rope are one of the easiest DIY projects you can do, and a spool of rope that makes 6 to 8 hangers runs about $10. Wall-mounted pegboards, the kind you'd find in a garage section of any hardware store, are incredible for displaying small potted plants on shelves and hooks at varying heights. A 2x4 foot board is typically under $20 and completely transformable. Old wooden ladders picked up from thrift stores or marketplace for $5 to $15 leaned against a wall become instant tiered plant shelves without a single screw. Layer your plants at different heights using all of these together, and a corner of your living room starts looking like a rainforest canopy. Lighting is the piece most beginners underestimate. Natural light is always your best and cheapest option, so before you buy anything, spend a week observing where the brightest spots in your home actually are throughout the day. South and west facing windows give you the most light hours. Clustering your light-hungry plants within 3 to 5 feet of these windows makes a real difference. For darker corners where you want plants but the light just isn't there, LED grow light strips are now genuinely affordable. Basic full-spectrum strips on Amazon run between $12 and $25, plug straight into a wall outlet, and can be mounted under shelves or behind furniture so they blend in rather than looking clinical. Set them on a simple outlet timer so you don't have to think about it. For ongoing care, a consistent routine is what keeps a budget jungle alive and thriving without constant intervention. Water most tropical houseplants when the top inch or two of soil feels dry, not on a fixed schedule, but based on what the plant is actually telling you. Overwatering kills more houseplants than anything else, and it's a mistake that costs you money in replacements. For fertilizer, compost tea is as cheap as it gets. Steep a small amount of finished compost in water overnight, strain it, and use that liquid to water your plants every few weeks during the growing season. Your plants get nutrients and you spend essentially nothing. For humidity, which matters for tropicals especially, group plants together so they create their own microclimate through transpiration, and set pots on shallow trays filled with pebbles and a little water so evaporation adds moisture to the surrounding air. Both strategies are completely free. On the pest prevention front, check the undersides of leaves when you water. Catching spider mites, fungus gnats, or scale early means a spray bottle of diluted neem oil handles it. Ignoring it means losing plants. Also, always quarantine new plants for a week or two before placing them near your collection. That single habit saves entire shelves. The last thing worth saying is this: you don't need to do all of this at once. The most stunning indoor jungles you've ever seen were built over months and years, not in a single weekend shopping trip. Start with what you have, add one DIY project at a time, propagate patiently, and watch it grow into something genuinely remarkable. Now we want to see what you're working with. Drop a photo or description of your budget jungle setup in the comments below. We read every single one, and your setup might be exactly the inspiration someone else needs to get started.